What?
Doing okay.
Oh, I thought, well, you said, like there was something else there.
No,
I mean, you seem like you're not okay. Like by the way you said okay, you just said like it seemed like you're not okay.
I'm never entirely.
This was
okay.
like a little surprising to me.
No, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah,
okay.
No panic there.
Okay. Well, it just sounded like maybe we should be a little bit panicked.
No.
We were worried about you, Danny.
Gosh,
you're like meh.
Doing great.
Oh,
I did see him here a lot earlier than normal.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because he's extra tired. I have no idea.
Oh, he fired off a text at 6:45 this morning. So, things are not well in the Danny Meringue world. Either he stayed up all night or he woke up really early.
I was up at 5.
Okay. Yeah. See, now, okay. That's usually like Danny's bedtime.
Yeah.
Like he pulls crackhead hours and
entirely
gets
true.
Up very early.
And I still have the sound of an MRI ringing in my head.
Now the truth is coming out.
Bunk, 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 bunk. That.
You woke up very early.
Yeah.
Right.
The good news is I did get an MRI within like 10 days as opposed to like waiting multiple months.
Those are happening faster these days.
Yeah. So, but the downside was it was at 7 o'clock in the morning.
All right. So you did like what normal people do is wake up at an early time. And
most people don't get up at 5:30.
Do they schedule MRIs for 3 p.m. in the afternoon? Because my wife just got one a couple weeks ago. It was also like a 7:30 call.
No,
I got mine a couple of months ago, and it was in the morning, too.
All my hip ones were at like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think they turned that machine off after like noon. Sounds like anyways.
MRIs are a mystery to me.
They're so weird.
Because if you ever go to get one, it's like, yeah, well, I mean, I don't read it. I just do it. And we'll hand it over to the person who will read it, and they'll let you know. It's like, okay, that this is all right. And then they'll be like, yeah, that doesn't. Well, what are you doing that noise for?
And then they legally can't tell you.
Yeah,
they have to wait
I'm
till
not,
the radiologist
I don't
walks
read
in.
it, but you know what? Not looking great for you. But now, and then it used to take like weeks for it to happen.
Yeah,
now,
to get the results.
Now you can get it. Like I got mine the day later.
Yeah, I got mine already.
You got yours already, so they finally read it and they can get it back. Like that was the crazy part. It's like you get an MRI, you'd be like, all right, I'm
3 weeks for the analysis and the results.
I'm in a lot of pain here, and then you're just gonna keep me lingering. I don't know if they have more people that read them now.
I think that in the past they were just like, nah, we don't need to do this.
Yeah, they can just send it.
I mean, not just like. Just take your time. What's the rush?
Well, they could.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They were like airlines. They could treat you like crap because what are you going to do?
Exactly. And I think now, though, like, people know the process and how quick they can actually turn them around. Yeah. Like, the original, do you ever remember hearing it takes a really long time for the MRI to process?
I have heard that.
Technology's a beautiful.
Maybe the computers have changed.
I would imagine the computing technology has improved. And maybe we have some radiologists listening or something along those lines. But also, I think they're just a bunch of liars.
Oh, that's what we're going with.
Yeah, I think they could have sped this process up. Like I had mine done at 7 o'clock this morning, and let's check the email.
Okay.
The email came in at 9:57. So the scan was done. I was out of there by about 7:40.
Yeah.
So it took a little bit less than 2 hours.
Oh.
Probably from the time they were done to.
See, that's money.
No, listen, that's fantastic.
Great.
No,
maybe that's why they do them early.
That's great service.
Yeah, if you have that late MRI, you have to wait, man.
Yeah.
They get the backlog in there.
I'd rather sleep in, though. Thanks.
Yeah, no, especially like I went to, here's a crazy one.
Yeah.
Guess what time I went to bed?
Oh, don't give me this.
2:30.
10:30.
You went 10:30.
Well, I should say I got
How
into
many
bed.
drugs did you take to that?
I got in bed at 10:30. Took the old melatonin.
A whole bottle.
No, nothing. Staring at the ceiling.
Oh, really?
Just chewing my teeth. I'm like, I'm not going to fall asleep anytime soon, am I?
You should throw Star Wars on. It'll put you right to sleep.
Well, see, I would do that.
No, you need to find your Star Wars. Then. Everybody has their Star Wars.
Here's the thing about that.
Sleep routine? I don't know.
What's that?
An edible into your sleep routine?
I mean, that's not uncommon.
Yeah, there you go.
Didn't have any.
The Danny special.
I didn't have any of those. Hey, it's either that or the painkillers, okay?
No.
But no, I used to be a sleep with the TV on guy.
Okay, I am.
My wife, hard pass.
Oh, really?
When we first started sharing a bed together, she wanted lights off, TV off, everything off. And like, if you hear a mouse crap in the wall, she wants to be like, that's how quiet she wants it.
Really?
And I'm like, this is a non-starter because I will hear everything and I will not fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started with the TV, and she had like a pillow over her head and blanket. Like, she was very not okay with it. And I was like, okay, how about the world's loudest fan?
Oh,
So we got
compromise.
we got one of like those big like room oscillating fans.
Mm-hmm.
And at first she fought it, and now anytime it's not on, she can't sleep without it.
Huh.
So, but yeah, the TV non-starter.
I'm surprised you didn't go like white noise machine. But I understand she wants it quiet. However, it kind of quiets everything else down.
The fan kind of works like a white noise machine, and it's a nice little breeze.
All right.
My wife and I would get broken into and have all our stuff stolen. We would not hear anybody. We have a white noise machine blaring, and it's the only way we can sleep. So
Really?
yeah. We found one in a hotel that
Rob
we really liked.
Jordan Schultz's home at night.
Yeah.
You can do it while they're there.
No, we found one in a
Found a
hotel.
new place to stash a body.
That we found one in a hotel
Serial
we
killer.
really liked, and then went and spent $100 on it because we needed that one. So
That fan?
that specific white noise machine, yeah.
Oh, a white noise machine
Oh,
in a hotel.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Wow.
That's pretty rad.
I don't like the white noise. I don't like that. Like,
I've
that
never-
doesn't
I've
do
never
it for
dabbled.
me. Huh?
I've never dabbled,
Well, you kind of do. It is the fan. It's
Well, I mean,
like
yeah.
the fan noise.
but I mean like the actual like white noise machine or like the. I do know some people that use like YouTube.
Mm.
They like play like there's like a 12-hour long thing of like waves crashing,
Yeah.
and they just play that every night.
Hmm.
That's but I've always just been fan or TV.
Got to do that without the ads though, because if you wake up,
Yeah, you gotta have YouTube Premium. You can't.
all of a sudden you have 6 hours in, it's like, hey, go buy this product. Holy crap! Just woke up out of
Getting
dead sleep.
subliminal Blue Chew ads in your ear.
That would be fantastic to have. Like, it would make a person like me never want to buy that product. But if you are the type that is buying the
The
YouTube
suggestive
ads,
Instagram ads.
yeah, I don't understand that. Like, if I'm on social media and I'm watching a video and your ad interrupts the video that I'm
Mhm.
watching because they just put them just randomly in there,
Oh yeah.
it
Makes me go
bothers
the
me
other
to the
way.
point where I will not purchase your product.
Now, if you put it in
Noted.
the front,
Will not do it.
if you put it in the front, I won't like it, but I'll at least respect the ad.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Don't interrupt me again. Also, it's the scrolling ad, totally acceptable. Because listen, those Instagram ones,
Okay.
they've gotten me a few times.
Now, the scrolling ads, here's my problem when you have a scrolling ad. When the scrolling ad takes over the whole screen and I have to like scroll up 4 times.
Oh yeah, no.
I am so
I'm
out
talking
on
about-
that.
I'm talking about like Instagram one, like it being the
Yeah.
same size block.
Yep, and it's
'Cause
just
I've-
right in there.
Because,
I'm
like,
in.
I've scrolled past it and then I go, and I slowly kind of creep back down. Like, what do we got here?
I've bought many things off of Instagram
Fuck,
because
man,
of those
the
ads.
Honestly, the Instagram ads probably hot take, probably the best ads.
Okay.
Probably the best ads.
All right.
They-
Outside of 1080 the fans ads.
They get me,
That's right.
man.
In the
They-
Odyssey app ads.
They get me. Whatever it is,
yeah.
it's like they got me with the Gordon Ramsay pans.
Okay. The
hex
you
clad
really
Gordon
need
Ramsay
to,
pans.
You need to say pans very clear because it could be Gordon Ramsay pants, but it's the Gordon Ramsay pans.
Yeah, the cookware.
Yeah. All right.
Got me with that.
Oh, they sell pants. I saw an athleisure, like it's a suit, but it's made out of the same stuff at Lululemon. So it's like
I've seen that Michael Scott bought that out of a bin, and it was a women's suit from Italy. I've seen that.
Yeah, mysterious with the pink inner lining. No, no. But this was, I think it's perfect for guys like Danny and I because I can't fit into a form-fitting suit at all. But a little give,
Yeah.
yes, please. That's
Okay.
perfect. And Instagram, thank you for that.
Really?
Yes, sir.
See, the quality's gone up because you used to get like the internet ads, and you'd be like, "Oh, that looks cool," and then like you'd order a T-shirt, and it would be the worst quality of T-shirt possible.
You found
It's true.
tissue paper thicker.
They have got better quality products
Mhm.
on there now. They've stepped the game up.
100%.
They've been sniffed out.
Even of the fakes.
What do you mean on
Like
the fakes?
like even of the
Like the
fake.
Nigerian prince trying to give you his money?
Yeah, like they're better about it now.
The Chinese knockoffs are so much closer to the real thing, I think
When-
is what you're saying.
Yeah, so when I was in Afghanistan,
Mm.
I came back with oodles and oodles and oodles of real North Face backpacks that had been smuggled out of China,
Okay.
and I'm talking like the Alpine packs that were like you used to climb like Kilimanjaro
Hold on.
type
Can
stuff.
can you stop so you don't go to? Are you going to go to jail for anything?
Statute of
that you said?
limitations is so far gone on these.
Okay, go ahead.
We're
Continue.
we're 20 years out.
I just don't want the door kicked.
No, we're fine.
Okay.
But I mean, these packs are like $600, $700, $800, and I'm getting them for like $30. And I'd stuff one into the other, and then he's like, I have cheaper, and he would have like the same pack, but like made in Pakistan.
Oh,
And you like the quality was still pretty good, but like when you look at the stitching, you're like, there's the difference. Like the North Face was like the not faced, and it's like not quite.
It's usually the understitch. It's like the underside of the clothing, or the backpacks are cloth.
North Face. It's got 2 O's in it. You're like, hey, wait a minute.
Or the O is a U.
Yeah. It's a North Face.
North Face. It's like But like you
got you
could
on
pick
that
up
one.
like the real bags. Like they weigh like 15 pounds. Like they're heavy. They are durable. They're weatherproof. All that kind of stuff. And you grab the other one. You're like, why is this one 7 pounds lighter? You're like,
It's that
knockoffs.
Pakistani craftsmanship.
Yeah, that's what I call it in was it Super Troopers, the Afghanistan animation?
Yeah, absolutely. This is another one on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. That's a Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them, vancouverford.com. We had this one that said, have you seen The Rock is now promoting CBD gummy blue chews? I have not, but you know what one is really...
That sounds like you're getting a lot of uppers.
Yeah, more ways than one. The one that is getting me, and I have now gone to the point of reporting it to Twitter. I think it may be the only advertiser on Twitter now.
Tommy Chong.
It's Tommy Chong's CBD gummies. Yeah. And I get it.
I blocked it.
Cheech and Chong have their own gummies now.
Yeah, I blocked it. It was becoming so invasive.
Every time.
Yeah.
Like, are you the only advertiser? Are you the only advertiser in my algorithm? Because that's all I see.
You must be talking about gummies a lot.
I don't know.
They just spent the most money. They want to shove it down your throat. Taste these gummies.
Quite literally.
Yes.
All right. Well, I hope this texture's not right and you don't go to prison, Danny.
Oh no! See, that's why I didn't sell them. I gave them away.
Hey, can I also add?
If you're listening and you got one of those bags from me,
you know,
if you got one of those bags from me as a Christmas present, that's where it came from.
I hope you didn't burn any of those bridges.
Can I also add, while you're talking about the text line, we are now live on YouTube.
Yeah, we are on YouTube.
We are.
If you want to go and comment, we can read your comments on the air here, but please like and subscribe, as you always have to say on YouTube now.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Well, you do it on your card packs, right?
Yeah, I shifted into regular sports stuff because the sports cards getting a little too seedy. So I just kind of went back to sports content. So
really, what's going on with the sports cards?
The same as everything else, man. All the people at the top have all the money and all the best stuff, and
or you get like fraudulent things, like Michael Jordan's game-worn jerseys.
Yeah, exactly. And then
remember
they send
that story when we talked about.
But those were proved to be real. Did you see the follow-up to that?
So it circled back to be real.
They are real.
So they
real.
took the authentication away, but then they brought it back.
Yeah.
See, but there's even major issues with the authentication of those kinds of items, and there are incentives for people to authenticate certain items while saying others are fake. So they're it's beyond what I would want to deal with. So no, thank you.
Okay, even with cards.
No, that's become a very small hobby as opposed to me trying to make a living off of it. It's not.
Hey,
sustainable.
Jordan, are my cards ever going to be worth anything that I have from when I was a kid?
No.
Damn.
Sorry, buddy.
Really?
I could tell you with almost, unless you have like a 1982 or 3 Ricky Henderson rookie card. No. If you're sitting on those Jose Canseco's, even like John Elway's rookie and Dan Marino's rookie, which you think would be nice, gosh, a PSA 10, which is the best version of them, goes for, thousands upon thousands, but like they're very common. So if you just find one, it's like $20.
All right.
It sucks. I'm sorry.
So I'm not going to be able to wait this out because my theory lately has been I'm just going to wait everybody else out because they were overproduced. And I'm like, I'm just going to hold on to these.
Dude, they're
not going to work, huh? Everybody else has that same plan.
Dusty, I promise
you. Or are you trying to play me because you're holding on to yours and you want me to get rid of mine?
Damn it, all right, you caught me. No, I'm just kidding. There are still unopened pallets of cards from the 80s, football and baseball, sitting everywhere. So it's just not valuable. Sucks.
I hate this so much. You have put a damper on my Tuesday, but you know what? I'm not going to let it drag me down. I'm not going to do it because we are 6 weeks into the NFL season. Monday Night Football wrapped up yesterday. Who's the most dangerous team in the NFL? 503-864-6326. Text us. This is Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
The Blazers wheel and deal.
Yeah, this would be a hostage situation in here now. We'd be barricaded in. Oh boy.
I had to paper over the producer window.
Can't even joke about that now because you can see us. So you just make that joke, but they're looking on YouTube. And
Yeah, we
live
are
streaming,
on youtube.com/1080 AM
The
the fan. 1080 AM
Somebody must
the
have
fan.
beat us to 1080 the fan.
I think there's a 1080 the fan maybe in Minneapolis.
The United States.
I think it's in Minneapolis.
There you go.
I want to say it may be there. That might be wrong. But 1080 AM The Fan, we are on the YouTubes. Our shows are streaming there now. You can't. It's not just Isaac and Suk for an hour on the C-Dubs. You can watch every one of our shows live and local on YouTube.com and see our faces that are for radio.
Whether you want to or not.
Absolutely. All right. Which team in the NFL is the most dangerous? We, after this weird week 6 of the NFL, we now have 0 undefeateds remaining. Our one-loss teams are as stands the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers, and let's us not forget the Detroit Lions.
Dangerous.
Undefeated.
Feeling dangerous.
Let's go.
Feeling dangerous.
All right, which team is the most dangerous remaining in the NFL in your mind?
As much as I want to say the 49ers, it's still about quarterback play in this league, so it's still the Chiefs.
You think so?
Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the league. And
he's a bum.
Until they're dethroned, they seem to be kind of comfortable just going about their business.
Yep.
And they're just trying to get through the year healthy and get to the playoffs. They're going to win their division. They're going to run away with that division. It's not even a joke. So they don't have to do a million things to get there.
Yeah.
Now, if they can get that bye, I'm sure they'd like it. So they're healthier going into the playoffs. But beyond that, they're just going to kind of meander through stuff and be who they've been, which is Super Bowl champs.
Well, and the AFC West is continuing to show that it has very similar AFC East vibes to when the Patriots were running through teams for 20 years, which is you have these teams that you go, hey, they're loading up. Buffalo, New York, Miami all had these times where you're like, they're coming for them. And it was supposed to be the Chargers. It was supposed to be the Broncos. It's supposed to be the Raiders.
Whack-a-mole.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not, because guess what all those franchises still are? Very dysfunctional. They are all very dysfunctional franchises.
Some creating new levels of dysfunction, Denver.
Well, yeah, and some just staying the same. Vegas,
yes.
LA. And they can't get out of their own ways, despite the fact that, 2 years ago, the Raiders had a wildly talented roster. The Chargers have had a talented roster for 3 years now with Justin Herbert. But whether it's coaching like we saw last night, or look, to be quite honest, the quarterback play yesterday was not fantastic. Justin Herbert did not play a great game.
No, he didn't.
And was he the whole reason that they lost? No, he's not the whole reason.
They charged it up pretty well.
They scored 2 touchdowns on the exact same play, just with different guy catching the ball out of motion into the flat. So that's something to think about there. And they had drives continually stall out. The aggressiveness of Brandon Staley continues to be the bane of existence to a lot of Chargers fans.
Just say everyone,
but
including that woman last night.
She's a hero.
She was just on with McAfee too. She's having her 24 hours of fame.
That Asian lady who is in the back of the end zone, and they kept showing her on TV. God bless the cameraman who found that woman.
Great reactions.
She was going through it. If you miss Monday Night Football, there was this petite little Asian woman who was in the back of the end, like right in the back of the end zone is where her seats were.
Have you ever seen the gif of the little child that eats cotton candy for the first time and like lights up like a kid on Christmas? Like,
I have not.
Like, it's
like when the sugar
hits. That was her when the Chargers scored.
I've never, like, those fans, I get anxiety thinking about those fans because when they
10.
Yeah, because she was just like a nervous ball of energy.
Oh, God.
And then they scored, and she was elated when they tied the game. And then to see her take her glasses off and the look on her face of just sheer disappointment.
Disappointment does not capture that.
Okay.
She was destroyed.
Yeah. She went through it.
So.
And can you imagine? She's a Chargers fan.
Yes,
that
I can imagine.
Every damn week.
When I was a kid, I think I've told you this before, watching Blazers games, if they lost, I was inconsolable.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I could not watch SportsCenter that night.
Yeah.
Like, just could not live through it.
Yeah.
Thank God I don't do that anymore, because it would be the end of me, with the exception of the Cardinals and USC. But I don't do it with the team that I cover. Also, 82 times would destroy me.
No, but that woman went through all of those emotions, and like over the last 3 years, they've had the most gut-wrenching of losses.
Shout out the playoffs.
Like they are like, could you imagine that woman last year against Jacksonville? What she was going through?
Do you think like a Jaguar, like any Jaguar, just puts her in a state of chaos?
How is she alive?
Yeah,
like she can't do that. She can't be a fan of the Chargers
because she's young
anymore.
and in great shape, and her cardiac health is good. That's why.
Well, yeah, you want to know why? Because one, her heart rate is through the roof.
Oh, yeah,
like at all times, she's
hummingbird,
exercising all game long. Every week for at least 17
that
weeks.
That woman's resting heart rate is like 30.
And then she's probably in a state of depression for like a week. And so she doesn't eat very much, probably.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, that's why she looks like she's in such great shape. But you know what? That woman is going to, like, her hair is just going to turn immediately gray.
Just fall
and
out
her
entirely.
face is just going to be just wrinkles overnight. Well, like one night it'll
shout
all
out to her
happen.
skincare routine. Flawless.
Well, let's be honest. She lives in LA, so it's probably a lot of Botox in there.
Wow.
Well, it's LA.
Wow.
Where's the lie?
I mean, do you know how expensive Botox is? It's not cheap.
She has great
It's
tickets.
true. Those SoFi tickets are cheap.
It's not like she's sitting in the cheap seats there.
Look,
I think she's got the cash.
I'm just gonna say. I'm gonna say she's blessed with wonderful genetics.
All right, we can go with that.
Skincare routine was fabulous.
We can go down that road. But the Chargers are just going through it right now. So to your point of who's the best team, I don't know how this petite woman fan of the Chargers got us to this point, but we just went down the Chargers rabbit hole. They are not the most dangerous team in the NFL.
No.
They are a team that, I said this heading into last season, and I still believe it in my core.
They're the Elmer Fudd
Brandon
of the NFL.
Staley is on the hot seat, and I thought he should have been after the first year in the way that it ended.
And then after the Jags game?
Yeah, I said this heading into last season that if he did not win, they should make a change because your window is so tight with Justin Herbert to be successful. You have a defensive-minded coach, and the defense was not the reason why they lost.
For once.
But there is a lack of continuity within that team that you sit there and you go, there is a disconnect. And when you have a disconnect where you can't put your finger on it, and you know you have the quarterback, you know you have the pieces defensively, then it is a coaching issue. And Brandon Staley, I love his kind of mentality and the way he goes about things because he is relentlessly positive. And he is a guy that is a high-energy guy that cares about his players, but there is something that is just not connecting with this Chargers team because they are way too good to be losing games the way they do.
Can I just say I hate the guy who's relentlessly positive when they keep screwing the same things up?
Yeah.
I hate that.
Sure.
Like it bothers me to a level like that's the kind of stuff that causes me to come completely unhinged.
Yeah, you can be relentlessly positive, but you can also know what needs to be improved upon.
Yeah, it's like, okay, dude, I'm going to need you to stop.
There's a difference between being relentless, and I think that, and this is the thing about him, is that he isn't dishonest with himself. Like he knows that there's so many things they need to clean up, but I do appreciate the fact that he tries to find the brighter side of things and knows the direction to work on because anybody can just drag everybody down.
Sure.
I mean, and there's plenty of reasons to be drugged down by that franchise. But I think that they're at a point where you have to take a long look in the mirror and say, we have the quarterback.
Am I actually the anchor?
We have 3 guys on defense.
Got plenty of dudes on offense.
And at every level, too, with Bosa, Mack, James, Samuel. Like, goodness gracious.
It's an embarrassment of riches.
They are loaded on both sides of the football. It's got to translate.
And they got
to
rid of
wins at some
J.C.
point.
Jackson, which is also a positive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The $85 million man. But they have got to find a way. And look, we also know that a lot of the dysfunction that resides in the AFC East is with the ownership groups too. Davis, Spanos.
Oh God, yes.
Like it's a mess right now. And you look at the downfall of the Broncos, it was
new ownership group trying to make a splash.
It was a change. It was a change in ownership. And the Bolin family, when Papa Bolin, got sick and died, all of a sudden you started to see the structure
cracks.
being deteriorated slowly but surely, and
Too
now
many
you have a
cooks in the
full-on
kitchen.
ownership change. Meanwhile, the Hunt family in Kansas City is a beacon of stability.
Mhm.
They have the right coach. They have the right quarterback, and boop, beep, boop, bop, boop, beep. They may be one of the most dangerous teams, but they're
Mhm.
not the only one,
No.
because we can make a case for several others. We'll get to those after Jordan, and he's got SportsCenter. opener to
Those Lions.
Detroit Lions.
Roar.
And they are continually the most dangerous team in the NFL. Division and schedule doesn't look to be all that daunting moving forward, although they do have games still remaining against the Bills, Dolphins, Eagles. That's not easy. It's not easy.
No, definitely not easy.
But they are the most dangerous team in the NFL. If you look at teams like San Francisco is always going to be dangerous. But we saw it this past week. Can they stay healthy, and how long will it last for?
Mm-hmm.
Debo, McCaffrey go down. And look, Brock Purdy, I think, showed that he is a guy that can still give you a chance to win, even when the weapons aren't there. And I think that was the biggest tell that he's not just this game manager anymore for you. He's not just a guy that is replacement level, and it's only, Kyle Shanahan, and it's only the weapons that he has around him. He is better than that. And anybody that thinks otherwise, just watch the Cleveland game, because without Debo Samuel, without Christian McCaffrey, the team was in a position to win the game on the leg of their kicker, which is a makeable kick, and a kick that he makes all the time, but he didn't.
I bet you Robbie Gould is somewhere going, I would have made that.
You just go and you spend a third-round pick on a kicker, and nope, doesn't make it. And that's brutal, but they are still dangerous. The Eagles are still dangerous, even though it kind of feels like they may be heading down towards the regression this season, because they're not as dominant. It's just not as crisp as it was before. They're having to work a little bit harder, and their schedule hasn't been tough, man. They've played the Patriots, Vikings, Bucks, Commanders, Rams, and Jets. They should be 5-1 through that. Now they're hitting the tougher portion of their schedule, where they get Miami coming up this weekend. They still have the Chiefs and the Bills to go on their schedule. Like, we'll find out, and the Niners. I think they play all three of those teams in a row. Chiefs, Bills, and Niners are all in a 3-week stretch where you're going to find a whole hell of a lot out about this Eagles team, which I think all three of those games are bookended by the Cowboys as well. That is a tough row of 5-game stretch, as tough as you're going to see in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
But the team that I think is dangerous, and they're getting a lot of shine right now because they are 5-1, the Detroit Lions. I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, but this team is legit.
They're legitimate in all three phases of the game. They can beat you on the ground. They can beat you over the top.
Yep.
They can beat you in the intermediate game. They've got big play receivers. Jared Goff, while he won't deviate from the script, will make the right read and won't put you in trouble. And Dan Campbell is a hell of a coach, and Ben Johnson is ingeniously got this offense humming. There's nothing about that Lions team that I don't like.
You know what their record is over the last 17 games, which would be a full season at this point? 13-4. They're 5-1 this year.
They're
Remember how they finished last year?
And they started off 1-5, 1-6.
And so if they win this week, and look, they have a very tough schedule that they have to start going through. Their division isn't great, and they go on the road to Baltimore this week, which is coming back from London. So keep your radar on that. Keep that one game on your radar, as Baltimore is coming back from London. They don't have the bye. The Lions are coming into town, but you start to kind of get a little bit of that sense of, all right, after this week, they have the Raiders, Chargers, and then they start their divisional play. And look, they don't have the toughest schedule in the world with the rest of their crossovers. Their non-divisional games remaining are after this week with Baltimore is the Raiders, Chargers, Saints, Broncos, Cowboys. And then they have the NFC North, which is not good. You have 2 games against the Packers, 2 games against the Bears. Like,
that's 4 wins.
This is a team that very realistically you could be looking at a 13-4, 14-3 type season from the Detroit Lions, and it would not be surprising.
And there's the other thing
that's crazy
to remember is that they're a dome team.
They are.
So they don't have to get interrupted by the elements come December and January.
Yeah. They have And if you look at their schedule remaining when the elements get bad, they have a December 10th game in Chicago. Outside of that, their road games are in New Orleans, in Minnesota, in Dallas, and in LA, November 12th. This is like the last game outside of the Bears game, which the Bears may just be completely mailing it in by then. In trying
you
to
could argue
actively
that's
lose
happening
games.
now.
Well, they're trying to win. The Bears have been playing. The Bears have been playing football.
That's
more than I can say about the Bears recently. Is that they're playing football right now.
Did you catch any of that Vikings-Bears game?
And no, on purpose.
I did to laugh.
I did actually, the parts that I did catch was I saw Justin Fields dislocate his thumb, which is a horrible injury that I would not wish on anybody. You know how often you use your thumb?
A lot.
Like the one thing I'm so happy about, I've dislocated all of my fingers. I've never dislocated my thumb. And the ones that I dislocate the most are my pinkies, and I am okay with that because you barely use them.
You barely use them, and honestly, they're the easiest ones to reset.
No, ring fingers. The ring finger always has gone in pretty easily.
Sad. I always get the
pinkies are tough because they're on the
pinky.
end and they always will bend out.
Go full 90.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. And that's not an easy one. You can't. The other fingers, you can't really go that far out. Like the pinky can get squirrely on.
Yeah, I've had that one go about 90. Super weird. I did it for the lulz, the Bears game.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you. I finally gave in and got red zone this weekend.
You haven't before?
I had a Sunday ticket just without the red zone.
What's wrong with you?
I know, but I gave in, and I was like,
all right.
It was like an extra $10, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do it.
You want me to applaud this right
no,
now?
I just look, man. I just
you want like an attaboy for getting the red. Way to be an actual football fan now, Danny.
I know.
Actually, you know what? You're looking for an attaboy. I'm going to shame you
that's
for
what I'm
not
saying.
having it before this.
That's what I'm saying. Is I finally did it. But I did it for the lulz because I wanted to watch the Bears and the Vikings because I'm like, the Vikings are a bad team. They're just bad. The Bears are so bad though, and I sat there and I watched Fields because he had those two good games, and it was like, okay, was I wrong on Fields? Nope, wasn't wrong on Fields. It was terrible. You could have kept his thumb there. Yeah. It was still dink and dunk off on us, and they put in Tyson Bagent, and I went, this is better. Even with that, after that limp-armed noodle throw interception.
First play in professional football, mind you.
I was like, you know what?
That's a cheap shot. Like that is the cheap shot.
He was 10 of 14.
I'm sorry. I turned to my wife and I was like, that was the first time he took an NFL field. She died laughing.
That's a cheap shot for you to say that is better than Justin Fields.
He was 10 of 14. He could make a read more than one player long.
No, stop.
That was my point, though, was that it was so bad that even he looked better under center because he read more than one side of the field.
Stop.
It was so brutal.
Stop.
On every level. But that was my rant. It was just like I went off of red zone and went to the Bears game.
We got a Baggett fan here on Danny and Dustin.
Because it was like, and I just sat there and I watched and I was just like, Justin Fields is not him. I will say.
No, he's not. We knew that.
I will take back my Ohio State slander. CJ Stroud is that dude.
No, yeah, CJ Stroud is really good.
Really good.
We went through the whole draft process, and I'm like, you can't judge a guy just for going to Ohio State.
I could, based on the history of Ohio State quarterbacks.
No, completely unfair. Look at the player, not the school.
I did judge him unfairly.
Now, that is because you're a USC guy.
Who also has
and you're like, if people do it to us, I gotta do it to other people.
But in all seriousness, Justin Fields was the one that made me go down that road so hard. Because I just did not.
It wasn't Terrell Pryor?
Well, I mean, that was the start of it.
Troy Smith didn't do it for you?
Cardale Jones.
Now, Cardale Jones, Dwayne Haskins.
R.I.P.
I always want to say Dwayne Hankins now because I get my mind in a vacuum between the Blazers and the quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah, I always have to double check my work on that one.
All right. 503-864-6326, Vancouver Ford text line. Who are your most dangerous teams in the NFL? Hey, we got an update that we need to get to. We haven't done this in a couple of weeks, but I think it is very poignant. Buckle up because we are in for quite the ride in the final 5 weeks. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to
Prime Time.
Jordan, if you could, please bless us with some game show music, if we can, because it is continuing to happen, and it needs to be discussed right now. We need to update everybody, the publics, on what is going on with one of the best teams in the Big Ten, the best team in the Big Ten West right now, 24th ranked Iowa, currently sits at 6-1. Yet their offensive coordinator and the son of head coach Kirk Ferentz, Brian Ferentz, could be fired at the end of the year. Remember, folks, in his contract, Brian Ferentz has a stipulation that the Iowa Hawkeyes need to average 25 points per game, and the team needs to win at least 7 games this season.
Are they on pace for that scoring margin?
They are on pace to win 7 games at 6-1 and leading the Big Ten West. However, they are failing miserably at reaching the benchmark of 25 points per game. This past weekend, they beat Wisconsin with a score of 15-6. The offense put up 13 points in that game, and they are currently averaging 20.9 points per game on the season. If you want to see how the scoring output has gone for a team that must average 25 points per game, Week 1 against Utah State, they scored 24 points. Week 2 against Iowa State, 20 points. Week 3, an explosion against Western Michigan, which is one of the worst defenses in the country, 41 points. They were shut out by Penn State. They scored 26 against Michigan State, 20 against Purdue, and then 15 against Wisconsin. If you're following along, it's getting worse, not better. It's getting worse, not better. So as a team, they've scored 146 points. Their offense has only scored 128 of those 146.
The funniest part about this, or the best part about this, the best possible outcome, looked like the ACC three-way tie, is if the Iowa Hawkeyes go 11-1 and Brian Ferentz gets fired.
Yeah, no, that very easily could happen.
You look at who they have coming up. They very, very, very much could go 11-1.
We've gone through this. Their remaining schedule is Minnesota. This week they play Minnesota. Would you care to guess the over/under on the Minnesota
31
Iowa game? So you looked at the document?
No.
Which had 31.5
No, you're kidding.
on it?
I did not. I swear to God, I did not look at it.
It's up on your sheet right there.
No, I'm looking at the 3 up, 3 down.
It is as low as they go for college.
That was a great.
I swear to God, that was a guess.
I'm going to buy it because you've been red hot. You've been red hot with your picks right now. Is
it really that low?
It is 31.5.
Wow.
In some places, it has been bet up to 32.5. 31.5. That's a really good guess. That was a fantastic.
That was
guess.
literally throwing a dart.
Yeah. 31.5 is the over/under against Minnesota. Then they play Northwestern. They could score some points there. Rutgers, Illinois, Nebraska, and then they would have a bowl game. They need to average 20 or 30 points per game the rest of the year in order for them for him to keep his job.
You know what's more likely to happen? It is more likely for me to go a year without getting an MRI than it is for them to average 30 points.
No, you know that's a lie. You just lied to yourself right there. You haven't gone 6 months without getting an MRI since I've known you.
I haven't gone 4 months.
My God. That was some wishful thinking, though. You want to hear a little bit more misery?
Yes.
All right.
Give it to me.
I had the stat up here.
I love wallowing in this stuff. It's great.
And this stat is quite something because I don't think I've ever seen anything of it. Okay, Iowa's 3-1 in Big Ten play, 6-1 overall. They have gone 3 and out on 60% of their offensive possessions. They've gone 3 and out, according to Tom Fernelli of CBS Sports.
That's a level of ineptitude that's like beyond, and that's with McNamara before he went down.
Could you imagine what this team would be like if they had competent offensive play? They've gone 3 and out on 60%.
Like they get a
of their
transfer from
possessions.
Michigan who was a 4 or maybe even a 5-star quarterback before he got hurt.
And he's hurt, and he's ACL. He's done for the
He's
year.
done, but even
There's
then,
not
like,
a chance in hell
No.
that they score.
oh
30
God,
points per
no.
game.
Honestly, they may not hit half that.
Yeah.
Between now and the end of the season, they're probably going to average 15, 16 a game.
If you go 12-1 this season, like in all honesty, like okay,
Kirk Ferentz has to fire his own kid after losing one
guys,
game.
all right, hold on, I got this. What it like we went through that schedule, right? What if they do? What if they put up 40 against Northwestern, 50 against Rutgers? They get to this point where they're at 25 points per game after the bowl or after the regular season finale against Nebraska. What if they qualify for the Big Ten championship game and get shut out against a Michigan or an Ohio State? Because if they
because
win?
they're so inept.
If they win the Big Ten West and they're right at 25 and they get shut out of that game, and that drops Ferentz below, and they're 11-2 on the year,
and they average like 23 and a half.
Yeah.
You're right. That's
I'm
the better
laughing,
option.
that sucks.
That's the better option. I don't want it to be like 15 points a game and have it be a foregone conclusion that he's not going to get there.
But it's
have
like
it get really close and then have it crumble in front
Kirk
of him.
Ferentz is like, we are going to forego the Big Ten championship game, and we will not play in that game. That's a drama I'm looking for here.
That's fantastic stuff. I'm
Even though
all in,
it's
all
a
in.
pipe dream to say that they'll score 40 or 50 points in a game because it's tough sledding right now. But there's the update. They need to average 30 points per game. They are currently averaging 60% of their series on offense are 3 and out.
60%.
Danny and Dusty.
That's not even a first down, my dude.
Buddy, 3 and
You
out.
good over there?
3 and outs. 3 and outs a lot. Like it's
Yeah.
one thing to matriculate a few yards. 60% 3 and out. Like, I want to know what average is in college football right now.
I think what you are looking at with that offense in particular, and this is like the frustration of Iowa's fan base, and this is like the real side of it, is that they aren't protecting their defense. Like if they had an offense that just was protecting their defense, but it wasn't like high scoring, that would be one thing. Right now, they're not protecting their defense because they're off the field 60% of the time after 3 plays. You're actually making it harder on a defense that is really stinking good to perform at the level
it's
that
a defense that last year put 2 guys in the NFL that are very good.
Look, Wisconsin isn't great, but holding any team in college football right now to 6 points is very tough.
Look, the way
very
football is
tough.
played right now, it's unless you're an Ohio State playing, what do they play? UMass?
Penn State, yeah.
Penn State
yeah,
played
yeah,
UMass.
yeah.
Unless you're playing a program that quite literally should not be in the FBS, it's an impressive task.
Do you have their time of possession in front of you? They have to be near last
They
in
are
college football, right?
10th in scoring defense right now. You want to go time of possession?
That's if you're saying they're 3 and out.
I got you here.
Most of the time.
Time of possession. I'm just going to scroll to the bottom
Yeah,
and
I
see
would
where
work- I
they
work
are
to the bottom.
123rd.
Oh my God. How many teams?
133. The only ones that are worse are most
Directional
of these,
schools?
No. Like you have Ole Miss, which is a high
Fun
scoring
and gun.
offense, and they average 25 points per game. If you're looking at Power 5 schools, the schools that are worse are buckle up because Northwestern is actually worse than Iowa. Like somebody's got to win the time of possession when those two teams play. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Tennessee, which is also another
Fun
high
and
score.
gun.
They are 131st. Tennessee is at 25 minutes and 21 seconds per game.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's really bad. That is really, really bad. Yeah, they're near the bottom, and not in a good way. It's not
like Tennessee where you're scoring.
It's not Tennessee and Ole Miss where it's like, yeah, we're gonna have Jackson Dart roll out there, and we're gonna be off the field in a minute 30 anyway, and we're gonna crotch chop you like Chip Kelly. No, this is Novocaine. We're actually gonna run the play clock down and we're still
God, I wonder how deep into the clock they're getting and they're still that low.
they're waiting for the final 5 seconds of the play
Every
clock
snap.
just to make it look better. That's brutal, dude. All right, there's your Brian Ferentz update. Let's go to the NBA. Blazers wrap up the preseason yesterday, and a trade in the NBA that has people scratching their heads. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Diabetes,
/1080 AM The Fan. Like, it's a lot easier if you just do this. You tweeted it out at Danny Meringue.
I did.
I retweeted it at Dusty_Hera.
Click the link.
Click on the link right there. Just click on that link and you could just watch us all. And you can save it on your browser. You can just pop it on up at work or in your car or wherever you're at. And you can see our beautiful faces. And even to the texters that are complaining that I'm wearing my Astros pullover.
This isn't the first time, guys.
Suck it. That is something that you can see. You can hate watch my Houston Astros pullover that my father got me for Christmas.
Your Houston Astros that are down 0-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'll take a down 0-2 than not a playing.
I know.
You know?
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Still gonna say it.
I can still throw dirt on you from the bottom of this hole.
There you
At least you're in the playoffs, man.
I'm down here yelling up at you.
0-2's better than sitting at home watching it.
Is it?
Yeah.
I would, yeah.
I think it really sucks for the Mariner fans out there to see this ALCS because
You were in
close
this group.
it was at the end of the regular season, and these are the two teams standing in the AL, and you're sitting there going, we had a chance.
Not just this
We
year
had our
either,
chance.
but it's like every time the Mariners get good, when Griffey came back and they had that 88-win season, they got close to the playoffs when they did play
88 wins. That's 54% of the regular season that
Love-
they won, Jordan.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, love to hear DePoto's plan working, but the point is that anytime they get good, all the rest of the division gets really good. So it's frustrating to see as soon as the Mariners are up there. Look at the Rangers; they're ahead of schedule, and Houston's still good. So
They'll get
I've
back.
been dealing with this for a decade.
They'll
Sucks.
get back. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. All right.
Speaking of getting back,
NBA.
it's
Blazers
back.
wrapped up the preseason. How do
Kind
you
of.
feel about that?
Well, there's 9 days between the end of the preseason and the regular season.
That is such a long time.
It's
man.
an obscene amount of time, and I'll tell you
and it's like
the folks that have
90 days until people actually care about the NBA's regular season.
Wow. People care. They don't forget.
I'm kidding.
I'm stoked about that tourney, baby.
In-season
Hey,
tournament.
that starts pretty quick.
It does.
But yeah,
start.
no, it is a little bit weird. People in the organization are not exactly thrilled about it because it's kind of like, well, why have a preseason if you're going to ramp down for essentially 2 weeks?
Yeah.
It's a little bit weird. I think the Blazers are going to end up having basically like a training camp again. I think that's what they're going to do.
As
And
they should just do it up here instead of down
Yeah.
in Santa Barbara.
really dig into stuff because Chauncey Billups, and the couple times that I've been able to talk to him pregame, he's hammering home fundamentals. And through they played 4 games, 3 of them against NBA competition, 1 against the first game against the NBL's New Zealand Breakers,
Yeah.
which the young guys unsurprisingly looked better in.
Of course.
You're up against lesser competition.
They're peers.
Yes, and a lot of those guys are younger, but there are some grown men on that team too.
Yeah.
Tom Abercrombie, I think he's like 30. So
Yeah. Bob Fitch.
there's a lot of that, but also very very strong.
My Abercrombie and Fitch show.
Yeah, I know where you're going,
Okay.
but there's very strong names on there as well.
Yeah.
So, but I think what you saw is that the first unit, Scoot, Ant, Tease, Jeremy, Da, is a functional unit. It's a functional unit that offensively has some real potency to it. You've got Da who's a better finisher than Nurk. He's working on the pick and roll stuff as far as being a creator.
He throws the ball through the hoop with his hand.
Yes, that
Called a
is
dunk.
super useful. Jeremy
Like
Grant is a 20-point-a-game scorer on above average efficiency.
Mhm.
We've already seen Ant go nuclear in a game where he hit 18 points in 8 minutes, finished with 29 on 8 shots. Like he was incredible as far as his shooting ability and his ability to bend defenses. We've already seen the Suns and the Jazz throw 2 at him to try to get the ball out of his hands in the preseason. The scouting report coming into this season is get the ball out of his hands.
Well, and this is the problem that the Blazers have is like they don't have any other knockdown shooters
No.
outside of Ant.
You've got Jeremy as a catch and shoot guy.
Mhm.
As far as a scouting report, like if you go into a opposing locker room scouting report, it's going to be Ant. Then Jeremy is a shooter. Then Da is a roller.
And
That's all they're worried about right now.
And this is like they have the complete opposite issue that they had last year
where
and
they
years
had
prior,
all the shooting,
where you have all the shooters and you don't have
the athletes.
Now they got the athletes, they got the slashers. They need the shooters to balance everything out and keep a team honest. And like that's the balance that you're looking for. Their defensive issues are still going to be present, but not the same either.
Yeah,
like it's
going to be
completely
it's gonna be making mistakes because they're young.
That's right, and so the defense won't be good.
But it's going to be for different reasons. It's because they're learning.
And there's going to be a growth arc with this team that it's not
wasn't there.
tracking wins and losses. It is, all right, is this going to change as the season goes on? And I don't know how long that will take. And honestly, that will be the decider on Chauncey Billups, right? Is
The development
if it
process.
happens
Yep.
and how it looks when it happens. But what we've seen through the preseason, what we saw through the preseason is that you can see the pieces, you can see the athleticism, and you can see that over-under win total and why it's where it's at.
Yes.
Any ideas of 41 wins? They left with those 3 games against NBA teams that we saw in the preseason.
Danny, I know you're the expert on this, and I apologize if you've addressed
And we
it in the
never
last.
had that conversation between you and I. 41. That was some fans.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
We did
You
see
go
that.
ahead.
Yeah.
No, hey, make some money. Let's get that win total correct. Let's go. No, Danny, I know you've probably addressed this in the last couple of weeks, so I apologize. But Shaedon Sharpe, you talk about the development of the team, and I've bought in. Okay, we got to get the young guys time. Why isn't Shaedon then starting? I feel like he would be that good shooter in that starting 5 to kind of help balance what you're talking about. And I feel like for his development and for the team's development, I understand they may not have a position for him in the starting 5, but I do feel like it's important for him to be starting as much as possible at this point in his career.
It's that part. They don't have a spot for him.
Okay.
And you're already kind of shoehorning Ant and Shaedon out there together. And the reason you're doing that is because Ant is the best player they have.
Yeah.
And for all of the people out there saying Scoot Shaedon, no. Ant is the best player they have on that floor.
That's fair.
And teams fear him. That's not my opinion. Teams are afraid of him. You can judge by teams' actions. When they send 2 at a guy to get the ball out of their hands at 30 feet, they're afraid of him offensively.
I mean, does it matter that the Blazers have a guy that's feared when they're going to be a 30-win team, though?
Yes, because it makes it easier on everybody else.
Right.
Because otherwise, you're going to watch Scoot and Shaedon just bash their head into the wall. They're going to go You're going to see this for the first 2 months of the season. That's kind of what we're going to get to right here. Scoot Henderson shot 2 of 16 on off the dribble shots in the preseason, and I showed Dusty this morning all 16 of them. They're not good, and to be an elite player in the NBA, unless you are Giannis, Jokic, Embiid, like 7 foot just behemoth who can just dictate with your size and strength, you have to be able to hit shots off the dribble. And I'm not saying Scoot can't do it. I'm just saying right now he can't. His catch and shoot, he's 5 of 11 on catch and shoot shots.
And his base looks completely, like his shot looks completely different from the lower half, like in everything that he does in that. And that's going to be the development that people
That's
are
that
looking
arc
for,
right there is
like people are saying, hey,
figuring
he
that out.
can shoot.
It's like, well,
He's got a lot of that he needs to do in
Yes.
a lot of different ways.
and he's figuring out the turnovers.
Yeah.
He had a 6 turnover game. He had a 4 turnover game. He's figuring out what he can and can't do in the NBA. And that's a part of this process. And that's why you want Anthony Simons out there, is that it makes those windows a step wider. Because if they don't have to worry about guys, they'll just start packing that paint entirely. They'll go under every single screen. And that's the thing, is if you look at Shaedon, I actually want him to play with that second unit because he can play with Malcolm Brogdon, who's going to afford him the same kind of opportunities that Anthony Simons does Scoot. And he's going to have a professional point guard who sets the floor for him, who's a 40% three-point shooter, who can dictate and bend a defense and allow Shaedon Sharpe to have second sight actions, to have the ability to attack with more space. And I think that's the best way to kind of go about this going forward. But coming out of the preseason, lots of fun storylines, but one of them that will not be there will be them toying with a play-in tournament. That's just not in the cards right now. It is what it is.
All right. Well, there's Blazers preseason. Coming up a little bit later, we will dip back into the NBA because a head scratcher from one NBA team. But next, we haven't talked about the Seahawks yet. We haven't talked about the Seahawks and what happened in Cincinnati. That was
drunk. Drunk is the word you're looking for.
No, frustrating. I'm not a Seahawks fan.
Frustratingly drunk?
And I was watching that going,
but why?
what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
A lot of that.
Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
A big game set.
They lost by 4. I had it at was it 2.5 or 3.5? Can't remember what I had that line at. But anyways, didn't cover.
2.5.
2.5.
Seahawks
Great.
plus 2.5.
Cool. Awesome. Loved it. They lose 17-13 in a game that was very winnable and very frustrating as the way that whole game played out. Because if you watched that game start to finish in especially in that second half, the most frustrating part was that the defenses on both of those teams played really well. But Seahawks defense was out of their gourd. They played really stinking well down the stretch. The defense forces 4 punts, an interception, only allows a field goal in that second half. Meanwhile, the Seahawks offense sputtering out
Anemic.
doesn't even begin to say what the frustration level is, because when you get 4 trips inside the 20-yard line, when you get 3 of those 4 trips inside the 10-yard line, and you only have a field goal to show for it, like that is that is just a gut punch and a half.
Well, who do you? This is the blame game. Who do you assign more blame to in this scenario? The offensive coordinator for the Seahawks,
Yeah.
Geno Smith, or the Bengals defense for absolutely destroying the Seahawks in the backfield?
No, I think that it's Geno. It's Geno and just execution. I don't want to even say the offensive coordinator. I want to say just like Geno and then execution, and that's like a collective offensively, because you do enough to march down the field. You do enough to get inside the 20-yard line. You're in the red area. Those are points, man. Those are points on the board. And it's not like you were going for it and, leaving points on the board because Cincinnati makes a play on the goal line, right? You had a turnover. You throw an interception. That is brutal.
Then you get sacked, 3 times?
Yeah. And to only get 3 points out of it, look, that's a collective, man. In placing blame, like we do always want to point the finger, but
Sure.
it is 100% a collective. Like when you're getting sacked, when you're throwing picks, when you're just stalling out, the defense makes plays. And to give Cincinnati a ton of credit.
Trey Hendrickson was living in that backfield in that final quarter.
He looked like Trey Hendrickson again. And that Cincy defense looked the part. A week after their offense woke up, now it looked like their defense is waking up.
They look like the Cincinnati defense that we saw last year.
But the fact of the matter is you're getting down there, and you got to get points out of those situations. And college football and the NFL are so different in that, every single possession is so damn important, especially with the way that your defense played. When your defense is forcing punts left and right, I mean, that is just crippling to momentum in football. Momentum is a real thing, despite what Mario Cristobal wants to tell people time and time again. Momentum is very real. And in high school football, college football, momentum is swings in the crowd, swings in, the swings are so heavy and the pendulum can rock back and forth. In the NFL, momentum is finite and it is such a small thing. But when you get inside the 20 and those are your point areas and you don't capitalize on them.
0 points in the red zone is that's wild in the NFL.
That is where, the Brandon Staley's take so much heat is like, hey, brother, you are in a situation where if you're going for it on 4th down inside your own 30, and you don't get it, now
you're handing points over.
You're giving momentum in a level of play that doesn't. Momentum is such a fine line, and it's so hard to grasp, right? Same thing when you go for it inside the 10-yard line and you don't get it, right? But when you throw interceptions, when your drives stall out, when you're not able to capitalize on those red zone opportunities, man, in the way your defense is playing, in slowing down Joe Burrow and locking up, a guy who literally is wearing a 7-Eleven chain around his neck in Jamar Chase because he's always open. They did enough to win that game. And you've got to be able to come out with points in those situations. And that was frustrating to watch. It was just like slam your head against the wall frustrating.
So I was flipping around. I believe that was when I flipped over to the Bears game.
Yeah.
Because I'm a masochist. And I saw the Seahawks and I'm like, oh, they're going to get some points here. And then I flipped back over. The Bengals have the ball. And I was like, the hell is going on here? Whatever. And I flipped back over to the Bears game. 3 minutes later, I flipped back over to the Bengals and Seahawks game. The Seahawks had the ball in the red zone again. I go, what the hell is happening here? And I remember I kept it on there, and I see Hendrickson get the sack. I see Wilson get the sack. And then they had another one where Geno just got rid of the ball. And I'm just sitting there going, that explains the score of this game.
And taking a sack on 4th down is the most frustrating thing a coordinator can have. But that's why I say it's the collective, is that it's Geno and it's the O-line, right?
That's fair.
And also on that last 4th down where you have DK, you're trying to get the ball to DK Metcalf. Look, DK was melting down in that game. Like DK Metcalf was legitimate melting down. Like when you get put in the blender like that between the years, that is a horrible look for your offense when he is that frustrated. And that is a frustrating
rendered
frustrating game
ineffective.
to be in. Yeah. 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 So going for it on fourth down twice. I understand why you go for it, by the way. Like
Sure.
you need 4 points. You
Yeah,
get
no,
a score.
100%.
But not
You don't know you're
getting
going to get that ball back right away. Like, you go for it there in the
Hell
NFL. Right there, you go for it. I don't think that's
where it's crippling.
Yeah.
And your defense still gave you the ball back.
Gave you another
chance
Yeah.
to do it. Man,
that probably makes that worse. Sorry out there to all the Ducks / Seahawks fans. Rough weekend.
49ers too, because if you're a 49er Duck fan, you lost on a field goal in back-to-back days, and
were they both 41 yards?
They were 41 yarders.
41 yards. Oof.
Yeah. And I believe, like, if you're watching on TV,
they both looked like they were good.
Right to left.
Yeah.
And it was in your left end zone. That sucks.
Oof. All right, coming up next, it's our.
Sorry, Dirt.
R.I.P.
All right,
dead.
Dirt's dead?
He's dead.
Dirt is dead.
I saw him this morning. He was zombied.
All right. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I am zoomed in
Whoa!
on my eye, like extreme zoom in, and I don't know who's doing that.
I don't control that.
I'm glad you got that look in my eye.
Oh, you know what that is?
Me.
That's me on the table.
Oh, you're hitting the table?
When I shake the table, it causes a zoom. So
Danny looks like he is like in a power stance, like he's doing like.
I mean, I am.
This poor table doesn't know what's coming right now.
I am in the power stance.
Goodness gracious!
Coming up next, the wonderful
yell at you.
Jeff Teague gives us yet another story.
This is so good.
It's so great. Jeff Teague, keep doing what you're doing. But first, here's Jordan with the Sports Center Update. things that you do that are so dumb that inevitably, if you were anywhere else on the planet, you would probably end up, if not in jail, in very serious trouble. Or if you're in a job, you would be fired kind of situation.
Yeah.
But if you're in the world of collegiate athletics or in the military where you are allowed to be dumb and learn from it, it happens. What doesn't happen often is those stories getting out.
Yeah.
Jeff Teague has his own podcast, the Jeff Teague Show, and he went on to talk about the time he almost got thrown off the Wake Forest basketball team.
Whoa.
I almost got kicked out of Wake Forest. My sophomore year at Wake Forest, they told me about LimeWire. I was downloading thousands of music. Got thirsty. Everybody like, you seen Kim Kardashian's sex tape? I'm like, nah. I'm trying to act like I don't watch stuff like that. I mean, y'all lame. I got to go find this. I go type it in. It's downloading for like 5 days. I get a knock at my door. Boom, 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 boom. And then it's the police. I'm like, oh. My coach sitting there like, damn. I take my laptop with me and take me to this office and was like, you know you downloaded over $5 million worth of music. I'm like, damn. They like, you owe $5 million. I'm like, I ain't got no money. What the Took my laptop, so I couldn't have my laptop the rest of the year. Then I was like, what triggered you to see this? A Kim Kardashian sex tape.
Shout out LimeWire.
I don't blame him.
Were you a LimeWire guy?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed away from
green little dot. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
I
LimeWire.
I stayed away from Napster. I was LimeWire.
I
guy.
LimeWired hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I had about 3,000 songs, give or take. Yeah.
I probably had more.
Yeah.
I downloaded songs, stand-up comedy bits. That's how I discovered Robin Williams, was LimeWire.
Really?
Wow.
I downloaded like 2 of his full sets.
Had you not seen Mrs. Doubtfire?
I loved Mrs. Doubtfire. Let me rephrase that. I discovered his stand-up. I loved Robin Williams,
Yeah.
but I did not
That's
know
fair.
because I was a kid he was a stand-up comedian.
I almost used exclusively for music, and I always had to make sure I would play a download halfway through to make sure it wasn't because they would put the fake ones in there.
Yeah.
That was how the record companies did it. Is they just loaded the fakes to seed out there so that you wouldn't get the real ones.
They didn't know how much time I had on my hands.
Exactly. Are you kidding me? I'd cancel the download and fire up a
me?
new one. It wouldn't take me that long.
Just download off of Bucks servers.
There you go.
I went beyond LimeWire. I did like torrents.
Oh yeah.
Into like late high school, early college.
No, torrents. I mean, they're still a thing.
You can get caught doing that stuff.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Just think bigger package.
Same as LimeWire, essentially.
Whoa.
And it's peer-to-peer sharing, which is what LimeWire was.
Yeah.
So you're downloading it from other people's computers. That's essentially what torrenting is.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Jeff Teague, like many an athlete, nearly thrown off his team for something very stupid involving women.
Yeah, in that, like the whole playing it coy, like, oh yeah, I don't watch it. The Kim Kardashian one was.
There is not
that,
a dude our age that wasn't like,
No, everybody saw that.
let's go take a look.
Everybody. I mean, that's why they're billionaires now.
It was Kim Kardashian, who was one of the sexiest women on the face of the planet, and every dude
Yeah.
went,
Okay.
don't mind if I do.
All right. And meanwhile, Ray J, not nearly as popular
Hey, those
anymore.
glasses are making money though.
And not even those
He makes
glasses.
glasses?
Yeah.
He makes headphones, but he still gets a royalty check, at least as of a couple of years ago, from this tape. I ask you not. He is still pulling money in from those deals he
kidding
signed
me.
years ago. No.
Well, good for him.
I mean,
Good for him.
they play on those sites.
Yeah, I can't
They're
believe
like
like
streams.
at Wake Forest they're gonna kick Jeff Teague off though. Like his defense should have been, well, you should see literally anybody else on this campus
What's funny
right now.
is he kept his download going for 5 days, and that's how they caught him, because they're looking at the bandwidth being sucked into one dorm room, and they're going, let's go take a look here, because for the cops to show up, because again, so Teague's at Wake Forest. Oh, geez, let's see what years
It's a while ago.
are we talking about?
Like I remember my roommate, my first roommate, my freshman year, Brada Drew. He was from Hawaii, and he would download like
07, 08.
when I would be at practice or at class, he would just download
Everything,
nonstop.
movies, music, whatever.
I mean, and it was all reggae. I had more Slightly Stupid on my computer than any other person should ever have.
Nice.
And I'd come back from class and I'd be like, Brada Drew, like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on with this? And he'd be like, oh, brah, you got to listen to this, brah. And I was just every single day. And so I ended up finding a new roommate. And because Brother Drew,
Really?
it got aggressive with how much, and that wasn't the only reason why, but you can get the good idea there. So I had a ton of reggae on there, and I'm surprised because the 5 days of downloading something, I think Brother Drew had, so like he was downloading full concerts that people were like recording
Oh, sure.
in on there. I'm surprised we didn't get flagged by somebody at some point. Maybe I was just like 2003 was too soon to be caught up in all of that.
I think that we just didn't have an accurate way to measure that yet. That's probably what it was.
Yeah, true.
07,
4 years was,
08,
4 years was
08.
big time.
So
they got it.
He's probably got cable internet in
Yeah.
the dorm.
Yeah.
The early cable. We're not doing that 56K anymore.
No.
Remember the days of early LimeWire? It would take like 3 hours to download a
Oh, yeah.
3 meg song.
Well, not just that. What kind of internet are you on? You're on the campus internet. They're obviously monitoring the hell out of that. If I
Well,
tried,
when we were,
not really.
no, I was.
Maybe I'm giving security too much credit back then.
Yeah,
'Cause
back
I
then,
feel
for
like
sure.
even like in Odyssey's building 10, 15 years ago, if I tried to do something, look it up, and it wasn't good, then I'd be hearing about it.
I kid you not. There's a commercial on right now. Mrs. Pat is a courtroom, and it's like the People's Court, but they have celebrities as the jury. Ray J was just on the jury. We were just talking about like
Look, man,
that's
he's
the
always the
first time
zeitgeist.
that I have seen his face since that video, and it was
Did he have the glasses on?
and it was
Rocking his Raycons.
moments after I just said, "What has he been up to?"
Also,
Apparently,
You're
he's not-
lying. You know how I
Miss
know you're
Pat.
lying?
What?
Because you never looked at his face.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that, but I saw one time.
0% chance anybody, if I put Ray J in a lineup, anybody
Yeah.
would know.
Yeah.
Now, if I put him next to Kim Kardashian, you'd be like, oh.
Or you look at his butt, like I think I recognize that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Sorry, that's what we saw.
What is it, ladies' man with a smiley face tattoo on the butt?
Ooh, with a lady.
I know that butt.
Tim Meadows is vastly underappreciated.
He opened for Sandler just the other night here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know Adam
Just-
Sandler was here.
He-
Adam Sandler was here
the
the other day?
14th? Was that 2 days
Wow.
ago? 3 days ago? Yeah.
Damn.
He was at Memorial Coliseum.
I had a
Dude,
weird,
Had Tim Meadows open for him.
I had a weird moment with Tim Meadows. He walked out of a studio I was working at one time, and it took me like 5 seconds to recognize who he was. And I'm like,
He seems like he'd be a cool guy.
yeah,
I
he
hope
was a little
he is.
weirded out.
I
But
feel like that's a good hang
probably
Yeah,
a good hang.
I bet. I bet.
If you approach him normally,
with a glass of Cavatier.
Ooh, it's a lady.
Mm.
or an El Nino margarita from The Office.
He was fantastic in Mean Girls as the principal.
Oh,
in,
yeah, absolutely.
In Mean Girls, which is a movie that it's okay to say.
Yes.
I enjoy the movie Mean Girls.
Look, there hasn't been a Tim Meadows cameo appearance that I wasn't like, this was made better by Tim Meadows.
Yeah, Tim Meadows is great.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what's something that doesn't make things better. Kevin Porter Jr. We'll get to that trade and more and how stupid that is going to end up looking. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. And in this case, this is one of them. Kevin Porter Jr. is being or has been traded by the Houston Rockets to Oklahoma City Thunder. That is not the story here. Kevin Porter Jr. was arrested for an alleged attack on his girlfriend, Kirsa Gonjacek, a former WNBA player, and it's not good. The attack left her with a fractured neck vertebra and a deep cut above her eye. There's a lot to be said here around Kevin Porter Jr. He's a troubled young man who is basically violated and broken every level of trust with every coach he's ever had.
Sounds kind of scumbag.
Yeah. Even in the NBA, there are good and bad people like there are everywhere, and there are some very, very, very good people, and there are very good people that have worked with him that he has completely destroyed.
I know that this was a big issue because he's a Northwest guy.
Yes.
It was Rainier Beach. Is that where he
Yes,
went?
incredibly talented basketball player.
And there were a lot of, I remember, like UW fans were very upset that he wasn't getting recruited as highly and as aggressively as they thought he should have been. And when he went to USC, it was like, oh, big hit.
Oh, he came with a lot of
in the
baggage.
recruiting circles. There's like this dirty little secret where a school will never badmouth a kid because you get nothing out of badmouthing a kid, right? Because you never know how it's going to turn out.
Cam Whitmore got badmouthed in the recruiting process, or in the the draft process. We'll see how that turns out.
But the draft process and the recruiting process are different
Certainly.
in that, like, there's maybe a reason why a school stays away from a guy, right? Or doesn't. Like, there's things that you just don't know. And you never badmouth the kid because, one, you're going to have to recruit somebody from that high school or area likely again, which is a big one.
Don't want to burn those bridges.
Two, there's also this idea that sometimes the best thing is for a kid to get out of the area that he grew up in.
Yes.
And getting out of that area can separate you just long enough from some of the influences that could be bad or hangers on. Like, you know, there's a lot of folks that believe that like a guy like Colt Lyerla would have been better for him to leave
Getting literally
Oregon, right?
anywhere else out.
Yeah, but you know that the hindsight and where that young man wanted to go, that's always their decision and his decision. But as far as like the recruitment process goes, like when you have a guy who leaves the area, sometimes it's not always just like they whiffed in the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is like hey, you know, look,
oh no, he's gone.
Maybe it is for the best that a guy doesn't end up at our school, you know? And as you kind of follow some people's careers, it may make a little bit more sense,
Yes.
right?
And with Kevin Porter Jr., he's burned essentially every bridge he's had in the NBA.
Yeah.
And now
it wasn't great at USC either.
No, he came there with baggage. I heard plenty of stuff behind the scenes where I just kind of rolled my eyes like, really going to do this, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, now this isn't just like baggage that you can write off or you can.
This is domestic violence.
You can sit there and you can internalize and say, we'll talk our way through this. No. This is very real.
Yes.
And so when you have this situation and the Houston Rockets have wanted out on him and now they have all the reason in the world to get out on underneath him even more. I don't care that the Rockets got rid of him. In this, it feels much more dirty that the Oklahoma City Thunder were willing to take him on
as a means to get more assets
and then pay him $17 million
to go away.
Mm-hmm. Like, that is the dirty part, and that's the part that doesn't sit well. It's not that the Rockets drafted him or they kept him on their roster to this point, you know,
or they gave him a second chance after Cleveland, or or a third chance after Cleveland. It's the transaction that somebody is standing to benefit off the back of a domestic abuser.
And now one thing that it did give them is a butt ton of picks.
Yes.
Over the next 7 years, they have 15 first-round picks and 22 second-round picks in the next 7 NBA drafts.
Which they won't
because
be able
they
to
picked up second-round picks from Minnesota and Houston as part of this deal. Because in order to take on a guy like Kevin Porter Jr., you have to pony up a little bit something.
Because they're going to eat the
second-round picks, and Victor Oladipo, I think, is going to Houston
Victor Oladipo, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. So you're getting Jeremiah Robinson-Earl is like a viable NBA player.
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo, unfortunately, is injury riddled, and that's basically like the tax write-off.
Yep.
So what the Thunder are going to
It's
do here,
salary
they're
matches.
going to eat the $17 million, and then the rest of his contract is non-guaranteed. So they have $1.9 million, I believe, that's a roster bonus next year, which he won't see. So they're going to write the check and then release him, and he's going to be gone, and they're going to get some draft picks.
How is it? Like, at what point do the Thunder not have to pay him any of that at all, based on the legal process and how this plays out?
It depends on
Because that would be
what
even
is-
more dirty if they cut him the $17 million check when they could, in another world, just sit here and be like, we're going to wait till the legal process plays out. He's not going to get a dime from us because he's on, the NFL has the commissioner's exempt list, right? Where if something happens,
Yes.
you put a guy on the list, he doesn't get paid. He just sits there and he's off to the side
Mhm.
and he's not done with the league. They'll just let the legal process play out. Does the NBA have anything like that where they can stash a guy and he doesn't get paid? He's not part of the league, but they will let due process work itself out?
the only place that they currently have that for is for substance abuse.
And that seems like something every league should have.
Yes. Players' unions, obviously for very specific reasons, don't want to see that because they don't want it to ever be used.
But it's also like a protection
for
for
the
the
league.
league and the players'
Yeah,
union to be like, hey, guess what?
But the players'
guy-
union is about the players always and getting money.
But
That's
it's like
what they
your
do.
guy, like, say that this comes out that it's a Trevor Bauer situation,
Mhm.
right?
Let's say where it turns out probably didn't do anything.
Yeah. Like, what if that situation does play out here and, like, I don't know. I don't know where they're at with that legal process. Where are they in all of this with Kevin Porter?
There's a court date pending. He faces charges of second degree strangulation and third degree assault.
All right. Now, look. If that, like, this is why it would be a protection to the players.
Well, there's protections in Kevin Porter Jr.'s contract.
But the big protection right now is that the PA looks like they're sitting there being like, hey, you get $17 million,
Well, that's the thing is-
scumbag.
Porter signed a 4-year contract extension worth as much as $82.5 million last season. However, this is per Adrian Wojnarowski. However, it is only partially guaranteed because of Porter's history of off-court issues. Without seeing the contract, I can't tell you
Yeah.
where and when they start and stop.
Man. Well,
But-
this is
But the gross
slippery
thing
slope
about
of the
this
NBA.
is Sam Presti taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
I had heard discussions around Malcolm Brogdon as part of an additional move, where the Rockets were very interested in Malcolm Brogdon after the Blazers traded for him. And I heard behind the scenes that the Rockets were talking about Kevin Porter Jr., and I was just like, for the love of God,
Mm-mm.
do not do this. It is just a bad look. This,
No.
I wish Sam Presti would not have done this. I wish this would have been a bed that the Rockets had made and had to stay in.
I wonder how many fans can justify and be like, no, it's a good business move
I mean,
on our team.
if you take everything else away, it is.
I think a lot of the fan base is going to be okay with that, but you're also cutting the $17 million check to this dude.
Do you want to be the one that's paying him?
No, hell no.
And that's the thing. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just feels dirty.
Because it is.
I mean, so that's where we stand with that right now, and they are waiving him immediately. So whether or not that impacts how his money is going to be affected, we'll see as the court case carries on. I'm sure there's probably some outs and some loopholes in there if found guilty or no contest, things of that nature. All right, coming up, it is 2:00, which means time for 3 Up, 3 Down.
Hey,
3 things we like, 3 things we don't. Coming out of the NFL weekend, Danny and Dusty, Teddy the Fan.
And it does. The NFL never disappoints.
Even on the bad match. Honestly, the worse the matchup, usually the drunker and dumber it gets.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to start here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look at that. Coming back after a half a month in London. The England's team returns
Hanging
to the
out in London.
States.
Jolly old
To
London.
the dangling appendage of the United States of America known as Florida. And the armpit of Florida being Jacksonville.
I was going to call it the
And
skin tag.
They pull off a 37-20 win over the Indianapolis Colts, where they were in cruise control, man. Gardner Minshew looking for a revenge game. Not enough. They're now 4-2 on this season, and they're looking like the team that everybody thought they would be at the beginning of this season. A regression is something that was expected out of the Jags, because when you have that playoff pop, you come back the next year, expectations are a mother bear. They came out of the gate slow. They've won 3 in a row, including both their London games, and now they can win in the United States as well. I'm giving a little bit of flowers to the Jags, even though they beat a pretty bad Colts team.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna piggyback off last week. I'm gonna go the Lions. Meow.
No.
They went down to Tampa Bay, and that crowd felt like it was half Lions.
Sure did.
You look at that crowd; it was just full of blue.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great win,
Yep.
but they handled business. It was never close.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks, who have been a feisty little out this year, the Lions went in there, take care of business, and looked like a jewel, dare I say, of the NFC.
Oh.
I said this to you yesterday off air. If you told me that you had the Lions in the NFC title game right now, I would not be mad at you.
No.
Which is such an insane thing to say.
They're really good.
They're good.
They're good
Not even
team.
like good for the Lions.
Yeah.
They're just really good.
My second up is also from that game, and it is throwback uniforms. Throwback uniforms are back. The creamsicles were amazing.
They look so good.
They look beautiful. I do have something, and it looked good because they were playing the Lions, which their uniforms aren't too modern. And here's my one thing that I ask for, is that we're getting throwback uniforms this week. The Kelly Greens are coming back for the Eagles. And they will play, who do they have? The Dolphins, right?
A lot of green going on.
Yeah. They play the Dolphins, and then next week you get the Seahawks wearing their throwback uniforms.
Which are gorgeous.
In week 8. Can I just ask that when we have these throwback uniforms, they've got the Browns, so it'll be a good matchup because they're throwback.
I don't like
You
the
can't
colors.
have modern uniforms.
No.
You cannot have the I think it'll look good. The next week it'll look good with the Seahawks and Browns.
Are the Browns going to wear their whites?
No, they're white jerseys.
Yeah.
But they'll wear their white jerseys in their orange helmets.
Okay.
It'll look good.
That'll
It'll
look
look
good.
old school.
Yeah.
You cannot have a game where we have like the Eagles wearing their throwbacks against the modern Dolphins uniforms. Put the old Dolphin on the helmet.
The old faded Dolphin.
Give me the white throwback Merino era
All whites.
Dolphins uniforms against the Kelly Green Eagles, and that's what I want to
That
see.
would pop if they went all whites and didn't go with the teal pants.
Yeah,
All whites.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the the Lions in the Buccaneers because it was like the modern Lions.
Modern
uniforms.
Lions.
Give me
As a-
throwback.
as a- like, and
Give me
you don't
throwback games,
You don't
damn
even
it.
have to go back to like the old Lions. Just go back to like the '90s Lions jerseys. Just,
Yes.
Just a little tweak.
Not Thanksgiving Day game Lions uniforms. No.
No.
Give me Barry. Give me Barry.
Yes.
That's all I want.
I like.
I want Scott Mitchell. I want Herman Moore, Wayne Fonts.
I'm
Lions
picking up what you're
uniforms.
putting down.
Give me that. But
Okay.
throwbacks, those creamsicles looked beautiful.
All right, on my up,
Beauty.
the Bears draft order.
Oh.
Because as of right now, the Bears are picking number 1 and number 2 after making that deal with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
The 0-6 Panthers are currently
Yeah.
the worst team in football.
Mm-hmm.
The 1-win Bears are the second worst team in football.
Pretty good.
The Bears are currently picking 1 and 2, and it's unfortunate that they're probably going to get a very good quarterback and waste him away there.
Yeah. My third up is holistic healing. I don't care if it's darkness retreats, crystals, whatever kind of drugs he's doing.
Buddy,
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers on the field throwing a football a month removed from Achilles surgery. People are overreacting.
Yet, though.
People are overreacting to it. it should be noted that is really damn impressive.
That's
like
insane.
Mike Greenberg, I thought he was damn near going to have something blurred out on Get Up because of how his reaction was to it. It is impressive though, man. And look, I don't know if he's butt sunning. I don't know if he went on another darkness retreat, but whatever he's doing, it's working.
What if he was butt darking?
It's essential oils is what it is, and they're working for Aaron Rodgers, man.
It's the key.
Yeah.
Gotta oil your butt. What? No, nothing.
Wait,
Okay.
what?
All right, Mike.
He's got to oil his butt.
Yeah, you gotta oil your butt.
Oh.
No, essential oils,
I
right?
don't know what that means,
Nothing
but I'm a
wrong with
little
a-
terrified.
Nothing wrong with a well-oiled butt, right? You got to have that smooth booty.
That's too bad.
That is
That's-
such a drop,
uh,
man.
Yeah.
There's like music behind it, but that's gonna live forever.
Would you take it
man.
anyways?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna definitely take that. We're gonna run with that one too, Schulte.
Mine is gonna be my last up is gonna be the Ravens.
Ooh.
The Ravens, who somehow, some way, keep finding a way to win very ugly games. Did you watch any of the Ravens Titans,
Have you ever watched the Baltimore Ravens play football?
buddy? Remember, it's new offensive coordinator.
That game was in London.
Lamar's healthy. All of these things. It was a train wreck.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we sending good football? Are we sending bad football to England on purpose?
No, it just happened.
So they don't. Even though the Jags stayed over there for 2 weeks, it still was ugly. This game, did you get up early and watch it?
No, not intentionally.
I-
I turned on the TV and it was there.
I turned it on. Look at that. 2 out of 4 days getting up early. I turned this game on and I was like, you know what? Let me see how this looks.
No, it's not good.
Ugly as can be, but that is the Ravens' MO. They're an ugly child that only a mother can love, and they keep finding a way.
All right, on my 3 down, Carolina Panthers, you outlined it. They don't have a draft pick going into this year. They are 0-6. They are leaving Bryce Young out to die. Their coach is talking about their owner being a meddling owner and having multiple meetings per week with him. Like, this is a disaster.
Well, he's handed over play calling duties because I think he's just reached the point of like, I don't want to deal with this anymore.
By any measure, this is a train wreck.
Yes.
And I think we're learning that Frank Reich, not the best coach in the world.
I think he's a good coach. I just think he's not a good coach of an S show. It takes a special coach to manage the S shows.
Yeah, I don't know. The way it went in Indy,
It's fair.
I mean, and now here we are there.
It's fair.
Yeah.
My down is running backs. Real quick, without looking at the box scores,
Yeah.
who is leading the NFL in rushing?
NFL's leader in rushing is Justin Fields.
Not quite. It's Christian McCaffrey, who
Yeah.
did not finish the game.
Yeah.
Do you know who is number 2?
No.
Zach Moss.
Yeah, actually, that makes sense because Moss has gone off a couple of times this year for Indy.
Number 3, Devon Achane, who did not play this week.
Yeah.
Number 4, Kyron Williams of the Rams. Other than Christian McCaffrey, you hearing a whole lot of big money running backs in this list?
No, but I've also been following along with big money running backs, and that's why the NFL doesn't want to pay them.
You go down the list, DeAndre Swift, Travis Etienne, Raheem Mostert, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, before you get to the real money guys. And then again, rookie Bijan Robinson.
And this is why they don't want to pay them, and this is why it makes sense why they don't pay them. Like, the players don't have to like it, but there is a reason. And also, when you have guys like Austin Eckler and Saquon Barkley, who, if they have a nick because of their contract situation, they're not going to be playing with it. And it's not like Saquon sat out a week, Eckler sat out a week, and they played not 100%, but they're not going to throw their bodies on the line like they normally do because this isn't the year to do it.
Because there's money on the line.
I get it. I totally get it from their standpoint. All right, injuries: Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Jimmy Garoppolo, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. The list kind of goes on and on. This was like that week where you're like, oh my God, Anthony Richardson, the rookie quarterback who missed time in 4 of the first 5 games of the season. Injuries are piling up at this point, and just something to keep that eye on. Circle those teams, right? San Francisco already getting the dings, and it does look like most of those guys are going to be back and playing relatively short order, where McCaffrey, they're optimistic that with that oblique injury and that extra day of time that they have because they play on Monday night, he should be available to go. Deebo Samuel, a little bit more shaky, but they're optimistic about it. But Trevor Lawrence, you're hopeful that he'll play. These are when the bumps, the bruises, the things you need to start looking at as you're getting your bets ready and you're looking at teams' longevity over the course of the season. Big-time injuries are starting to happen.
My second down, big-time favorites. Big-time favorites got kicked in the teeth this weekend. The 49ers get upset by the Cleveland Browns. The Bills barely eke out a win over the lowly Giants. The Eagles get upset by the Jets. You go down the list. If you were more than a 6-point favorite, you didn't have a good weekend.
Yep. Yeah, not good. And then I'm going to throw Jalen Hurts in this. He had the third worst passer rating in Week 6 in the NFL. 59.5. The only guys that were worse, Baker Mayfield and Joshua Dobbs. One guy is a rental. The other guy is a stopgap.
Who was traded for his 7th-round pick.
Jalen Hurts. Bad games happen, but when you're talking about 3 down, it was a down week for one Jalen Hurts. When you look at the performance overall, you lose to the Philadelphia Eagles. That is red flag number 1. But 3 interceptions against that Jets defense. And Robert Saleh doing the whole, we've played some elite quarterbacks, but we've embarrassed all of them. Come on, man.
It's a great line, though.
You got a win on this week, and
Great
that's
line.
good. But you're 3-3. You're on the struggle bus. People are freaking out that Aaron Rodgers is throwing the football
Moral
because
victories,
that's how
baby.
bad your quarterback play has been. But at least Zach Wilson didn't turn the ball over. And he had, because of that, despite only having 186 yards passing, had a better passer rating than Jalen Hurts.
All right, my last down, Desmond Ridder was given 3 different chances to beat the Commanders. 3 different times he threw an interception.
Commanders are hard to beat. Just ask the Bears.
It is a disaster. And something I think we'll talk about later on this week. I think there's at least 5 quarterbacks in the NFL that teams need to move on from. Desmond Ridder, Justin Fields, topping that list.
Okay, wow. Guy has 1 loss in a home game, and you're ready to move on from him.
Time to go. Time to go.
Yeah, I'm willing to give him a little bit more time just because he hasn't started a full season yet even. Like, you don't know. You don't know.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Okay.
Throw Mac Jones in there, too.
Mac Jones you can throw in there
Okay.
because he's been a starter for more than a year.
Okay.
Like, you got to be able to see what these guys are. Like, Mac Jones isn't it. Like, is he good enough to guide you to wins? Yeah, absolutely Mac Jones is. But you have to have better talent around him. Your offensive line cannot be a sieve like the Patriots are. Your skill positions have got to be above average, which they are below average in New England. Mac Jones isn't the guy for this roster. He can guide a team, though. Plenty. His arm is...
You think he's a starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Think so?
I mean, yeah, you have the right team. Yeah.
Not convinced.
He can make all of the throws. Mac Jones can. And I'm telling you, he is not the guy for this team whatsoever.
No.
And he's not a guy for most teams in the NFL. But he can be a starting quarterback for sure in the NFL.
If I squint, I still can't see it. But I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, we'll head down to Eugene, where Dan Lanning is facing the music from the loss up in Seattle. Still again, coming up here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Gotta have that smooth booty.
that saw, well, I would say not mixed, but mostly a negative reaction to the Ducks' decision to go on multiple fourth downs.
Yeah, and that's going to happen. And I do think that when you go back and rewatch the game, and even if you watch like the condensed version, it's, boy, there's a lot that that goes into those decisions and why Oregon ultimately didn't convert them. Is the other thing. Is like going back and rewatching it. When he said like we had timeouts if we didn't get the look that we wanted, there were the looks were there.
Wanted.
And pre-snap, like you can't call a timeout mid-play, right? And you get the look and you get leverage and you have an alignment that seems advantageous to you, and you sit there and you're like, okay, all we got to do is execute. Washington executed on two of them. Washington is the one that made the play, not Oregon, right? And
sometimes you just have to
tip the cap and move on.
Good.
But you also left points on the field.
Yes.
And that's
where you're doing your triage and you're assessing what you can do and what you can't do in the moment.
And that's where Lanning is still going to go through this. And in the awareness and kind of knowing who you are and the comfortability in it, I think is the important part when you hear him say things like this.
Yeah. Well, I'd say this, like if I knew none of them were going to work, you would change every situation, right? That's not the way those decisions work, right? Here's the hard part. When you sit in this seat, when I make decisions, one, I'm a big boy. I can handle criticism, right? And that's going to come. That's and it's deserved in this position. That's the way it works. I trust our players. I trust our coaches, and we have opportunities to win games. I'm gonna be aggressive to win games. If you look back at all of them, ultimately field goal before half, that's one that I feel we certainly could have gone either way. Like I said on Saturday, we felt that we had the look. If we didn't have the look that we wanted, we were going to call a timeout and we were going to kick the field goal. Could easily turn around and say, kick the field goal there and feel good about it. At the very end of the game, I don't think there's any scenario where I wouldn't go for it on fourth down there when you have an opportunity to put the game away. They've scored on more than 50% of their drives at that point in the game. 75 yards to 50 yards to 80 yards for them with a potent offense. They're going to have a lot of success in a lot of those scenarios, and they had that day. And then, transversely, it gives our offense an opportunity to come back and still have a chance in that situation. We don't get it. If we get the first, the game's over. So what I would go back, like I said on Saturday, is the 3rd and 2. I wish we could have executed at a higher level. There was some confusion there. But what's tough is when I make those decisions, like I said, it doesn't just affect me. It affects everybody in our program. It affects everybody that cares about Oregon football. And I understand that. And like I said, I'm deserved of the criticism. But it's not like those decisions are made on Saturday in that moment. Those decisions are made earlier in the week. Hey, how do we want to play this game? We knew this was going to be a game. It was going to be a high-scoring game where there was, touchdowns over field goals mattered. In that scenario, like I said before half, I think you could certainly say that could go the other direction. A lot of the other scenarios, I don't know that you'd play it any other way other than if you already knew what the result of the play was going to be. Three opportunities on a fourth. The chances of us not getting one of those three is really unique, especially with what we've done offensively so far this year.
He makes some decent points.
Sure. I don't think I disagree with anything. Like I said, he alluded to the going for the field goal at the half and why going for it on fourth down on both the other ones made sense. And I don't disagree with the calls.
I think the one that was suspiciously kind of left out is that second one.
The
right?
punt, or the lack of punt.
The second one, no, where it was an 11-point game.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah.
And you didn't kick on the 4th and 3 from the Washington 8 because it wasn't like you were in a 4th and goal situation where you're on like the 3-yard line like you were before. You were 4th and 3 from the 8.
You had some room for the first and the touchdown.
Yeah, and they had just gone down and scored a touchdown, and I get like that was on the heels of you chase points at the end of the half. You go early on your opening drive, you have to punt. Then they go and score, and then you get down there. It's like get it back to a 1-point game, get 1-score game, right? That was the line of thinking through my mind was like, okay, if you get this back to a 1-score game, you're good. And that one, you didn't get points. That was the one that I was like, oh, man, that would stick with me. The other ones, he had explanations for, and I was okay with, like, in the hindsight playing all of it. It's like, man, you wish you get points at the end of the half, of course. In the moment, though, the momentum feels of the game, both of those ones, the first and the third one, I was like, yeah, go for it. But as Dan Lanning says,
I'm a big boy. I can handle criticism.
he's a big boy. He can handle the criticism.
Also, it does sound like begrudgingly he gave well, I guess you can make the argument for the field goal. It's like, I bet you when they went back of all of the things, I bet you they wish they took those points. Of all of of those 3 decisions, I bet you that's the one because that's the easiest one to go, yeah, should have taken those points because you're starting the ball in the second half.
Yeah. The momentum, though, and the feel of the game, that was the momentum in that one. It felt like going for it. I understood it.
Oh, no,
I understood it in
I
that
understand
moment.
it. I just disagreed with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of those ones where I'm throwing stuff at the TV, you dummy, something like that.
Yeah.
For me, it's not like I made the comparison of if you're an underdog, make sure you go for 2.
Yeah.
Like when you've that point in time, you've exhausted all your other options. When you're you're in overtime and you're chasing points. At this point, you've chased the entire game. Go for 2. That's the aggressiveness you should have, in my opinion. At that point in time, I think it is okay. And I understand entirely what you're saying with momentum. Momentum can be pretty heavy if you're down 1 instead of down 4 going into the half, and you can go in the locker room saying, we're down 1, and we start with the ball, boys.
Yeah, but at that point, that was the only stop that you'd had, and they'd gone touchdown, touchdown, touchdown on the 3 prior drives.
Listen,
then that's where I was like,
I 100% get it.
make them pay.
You had already taken 1 field goal, so why not take the second?
Yeah, well, because you want to crush them.
I'm just saying,
Like the moment, and
you had already elected to take a field goal.
Yeah.
You had gone past the 6-0 threshold already, and that's in my brain. Like when you start doing that, it's like, okay, you've already okayed getting points when you can get points.
Sure, but this as the numbers guy, like you like that also said go for it.
It did by 1%. It did say go for it.
It also was if you were to feel the energy of that building,
sure,
and then what got zapped out of it, and where all of the momentum was on that sideline, it's a lot easier to go with it too. So like when the numbers and the feel of a game tell you to go for it, that's why I was so okay with it, because you're sitting there looking
if it's
around.
A coin toss, go for it.
It was one of 2 times in the entire game where Husky Stadium did not feel like it was going to
overwhelming.
That building was shaking the entire time, except for that drive. And then when Oregon scored the touchdown to take the lead in the second half, when they actually went up 33-29, that's when it was like you could hear a pin drop in there. Other than that, that place was so effing loud. It was.
Yeah, Suk said it was one of the loudest atmospheres he'd ever been in. He said the only one that he had been in louder that he could remember was in a playoff game against the Vikings of the Net.
Yeah. And I've been to a lot of really loud games. Like I was on the field for Oklahoma, Oregon, and when that place was ready to erupt and it was on tilt. I've been at Neyland Stadium for a top 25 matchup of Tennessee, Georgia, a rivalry game, and 100,000 plus people in right in that late afternoon kick.
When they're super drunk.
It was not. It wasn't as loud as Autzen or Husky Stadium was. Husky Stadium was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
It was
a top 10
impressive.
matchup between rivals. You don't, with Heisman level quarterbacks, you don't get those 3 things.
Yeah.
Top 10 matchup, rivalry game, Heisman quarterbacks. Almost, I bet you in the history of college football, there is less than 20 of those occurrences.
There were moments of Colorado, Oregon that at the very beginning, but there were moments where it was like that. For the entirety of the game, it was the closest would be Oklahoma, Oregon, and it wasn't like that for that long because this game was
tight
throughout the entire game. It wasn't like you had to have a double-digit comeback. It was, well, you did have to have a double-digit comeback, but it was you never thought that tension was ever going to loosen up, and it didn't for 3.5 hours. It was crazy. But I know nobody wants to hear it, but you sit there and you sit there and how a coach reacts after a loss is an important thing, and the decisions are going to be questioned from now until forever, like until the next time something like this happens.
Particularly because he's now 0-3 against the rivals.
And it will continue to happen. But how he reacts to it, isn't Cristobal, who continues to shut down at Miami.
Or
It's not
to
Chip
blame his
Kelly.
players.
It's not Chip Kelly, who would just shut down and just move on as fast again. No, he's like, I'm here for it.
He's analyzing it day 2.
Does it suck? Yeah, it sucks. It sucks for everybody involved.
It'll go away the second that they beat a rival. That's when it'll go away. That's just the reality of it. Fair or not,
it's going to happen.
the second they go out and they beat Oregon State, they beat Washington next year, whatever that ends up being, when they beat a rival or another top 10 team where they have those situations come up again and they come up on the other side of the coin.
That's right.
Coming up next.
That's brutal, dude.
Did you get a chance to see Damian Lillard in the new threads?
I don't know.
No?
Why? No.
No?
I've watched like 2 minutes of Blazers preseason.
Okay.
Why would I watch the Bucks?
All right. Well, fine. Fine.
I heard it was awesome though.
It was awesome.
I heard it was.
And I'll talk about that more coming up here on Danny and Dusty. First, here's Schultze. They made their debut on Sunday.
Yeah, you asked me if I had watched any of that, and that is what kind of cruel joke is that? On an NFL Sunday that has the ALCS as well, preseason basketball, not on my radar, my man.
No?
No.
Not even Dame Giannis debut?
No.
Can't make my wife watch 3 different sports at this time of year. There's no reason for the third.
You got to move to a different room, buddy.
Yeah, that was pretty funny that you thought that I would have watched that.
Well,
on Sunday.
Giannis played a total of 15 minutes. Dame played 22. Dame shot poorly, 3 of 10. But they're going to break basketball.
I am very excited to see it. And literally, I didn't watch a lick of it, but every single person, from the casuals to the hardcore NBA, sycophants, everybody has said the exact same thing, which is, oh my God, this is going to be scary.
I can't remember a duo fitting together better on a side of the floor than these two in quite some time.
It's a better fit than Miami.
Yeah, look, Dame and Bam, great fit.
Yeah.
Genuinely great fit. Giannis and Dame is S tier, top of the tippity top. Cannot pair Dame with a better player.
No, and then you add Brook Lopez and
Chris Middleton
to it with Pat Connaughton.
Terry Stotts running the offense.
It is going to be filthy what they do. In that, the Terry Stotts running the offense
is huge.
That familiarity that they have with each other, there isn't going to be this square peg round hole. Let's see how
do
we
I
can
best
fit
optimize
you
Dame?
No, Terry Stotts has also been through this before because I don't know, he had a 7-footer that in Dirk Nowitzki that he did pretty damn well with. That he already knows how to use that athletic.
He knows how to tailor stuff to guys
and how to spread the floor properly with somebody like a Giannis Antetokounmpo or a Dirk Nowitzki. Like, he's done it before, and he's also controlled the egos enough to where he won't have to. And we already know this about Dame.
And Giannis
he's not going to have to
issue.
control an ego.
No. That's the thing about this. It's not just their stylistically between their games, how well they're going to fit.
Yeah.
It's their mentalities, it's their egos, it's their attitudes, it's the relationship that they're going to have with Stotts. Even though Dame only went 3 of 10, both him and Giannis in their post game were like, "I've never had space like this. I've never had like this much room to work with."
They open each other up so well.
Giannis said something along the lines of, "I've never seen a guy get doubled like that when he crosses half court." Like, the Bucks have had good players, but they've never had an offensive player who you're trapping at 30 feet because you're so worried about him. And Damian Lillard. I mean, Damian Lillard is, I think we lose track of this even in Portland. Damian Lillard is not only one of the best scorers in the NBA, he's one of the best scorers all time. If you look at his career scoring average, I believe he's top 15 still. Like, he's averaging for his career, I believe, just under 26 points a game.
That's pretty good.
That's an insane level of scoring. So the respect that Dame gets is otherworldly from opponents. Pair that with a 2-time MVP winner who's now going to play 4-on-3, and either Brook Lopez or Chris Middleton, 2 incredibly great shooters, are going to be butt naked regularly.
And I think that defensively, they have enough to get over the top too, because they don't have to. They're not a complete liability in their entirety of their backcourt. They're not a complete liability in the entirety of their front court. No, Brook Lopez is still a really good defender at the rim, and also Chris Middleton in the backcourt. And then you have like guys like Bobby Portis coming off the bench. Like, this team is very complete as well. I'm excited to see it. I'm really excited to see it when basketball really means something in the regular season. No, I mean like in all
regular
honesty,
season. Okay.
Like in the regular season when basketball
I thought you were
matters.
going to Christmas on me.
Oh, that's not when the regular season? No. No, when the regular season starts and games really start mattering, I will be very excited to see, because they only had Giannis only played 15 minutes, right? So we didn't see a lot of it.
No, and he had 16, 8, and 2 in 15 minutes.
That seems good.
Yeah, and just as a point of reference, Damian Lillard is 11th all time in points per game.
Pretty good.
Giannis sitting at 33rd. So you have two of the top 35 points per game scorers in NBA history.
Only one ball. You know, that comment, you know,
Yeah,
only one ball.
That's the interesting thing about this is
I think it'll be enough.
there's gonna be plenty of ball there to go around.
Yep. For sure.
All right. Coming next, we'll wrap up today's show, Danny and Dusty, with all of the NFL and college football odds.
That
and
was a
ends.
good basketball talk.
Yeah, you
though.
like that?
That was good basketball
Just a little-
talk. Let's go.
Little softball up there.
Yeah.
Now back to football. Danny and Dusty, Danny and Finn.
Oregon Ducks foot.
YouTube.com/@ 1080 AM The Fan.
At at 10. I thought it was just backslash
You,
1080.
you
the
can do
thing.
either.
You could put the at
You
symbol.
can put
in
the
there.
at symbol down there too.
They make
yeah.
it easy. They try not to confuse people.
The YouTubes, man. The YouTubes is amazing.
They're ahead of stuff in technology. Have you heard?
No, I haven't.
The bird is the word.
Did you guys hear that Netflix is going to go brick and mortar? Like they're going to start opening stores.
Wait, what?
To sell internet?
They stopped their DVD service like a month ago.
My question was, I just saw it on the news, like popped across my feed, and I was like, for what? And I didn't even do. They just said brick and mortar. I don't know.
What are they?
I don't know what they're gonna sell.
They're
Netflix
brick and mortar
swag.
customer service.
No, they're going to sell Netflix t-shirts.
Netflix plans to open brick and mortar locations. Like you guys are literally the ones responsible for killing Blockbuster and Hollywood Video.
We don't have DVD players anymore.
Yeah, and Blockbuster actually is the one that laughed Netflix out of the room. So good to you, Netflix. Good job.
I don't know. They're they're gonna offer retail, dining, and live entertainment.
Really?
So they're movie theaters.
Or a mall.
They're movie
That's
theaters.
what I think. You guys both described like a movie theater at a mall.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have those.
Netflix is gonna be like, they're gonna be like, you know what? We should have live action shows. Broadway's gonna be like, what the hell, guys?
So they're going to have like a cabaret show going on that I could go, buy a ticket for right now.
Or maybe like a strip club. I don't know.
I would
But
buy
yeah,
a ticket for
they're
that.
opening up. They're opening up brick and mortar locations.
This is what happens.
It's unclear if DVD or any type of physical media will be a part of the inventory. No, it won't be because I don't know where my DVD player is.
No clue. No clue. None.
You can use like your Xbox or your PS5 or whatever.
Yeah, if you didn't get the streaming only version.
Yeah, that is true. I have one
There's-
Blu-ray.
Wait, they
player
make
now.
those now?
There's two different versions. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one
Get out of town.
that's software only. Yeah.
And that is cheaper, so
Yeah.
a lot of people just, they don't want to split.
And it was
Was the
Yeah.
quality any different?
Oh no. Everything else is the same.
You can download your games now, which it takes 6 hours, but it works.
Well, hey, as we learned from Jeff Teague, it may take you 5 days, but if you
The
get that
cops will bang
video,
on your door.
you will remember that video for eternity.
I'm struggling to put this whole Netflix thing here because this sounds like a billionaire who's like, you know what, I have an idea, guys. It's gonna set the world on fire. What if we have physical media?
Like by that you mean like
Anything different than
like-
existed 40 years ago.
like when they used to make announcements in the town square?
Yeah, like
Like that kind of like
Bring
medieval
back-
time
Bring
stuff?
back cassettes, everybody.
but I'm like, yeah, like
See?
nah, it's because cassettes are where it's at. It's all in the ball bearings. It's like what are we doing here?
Yeah, it does really sound
This sounds like somebody
so
sold reinventing the wheel.
well, this is absolutely
In
what's
snake
happening
oil.
right
It sounds like a Jeffrey Katzenberg idea. If you don't know who he is, he's the former Disney and DreamWorks exec that came up with Quibi. So
now.
that's
This
what
is
sounds
Josh Simon. The VP of consumer products for Netflix. And this is exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
This quote just goes, oh God.
Oh, give it to me. Give it to me.
We've seen how much fans love to immerse themselves in a world of our movies and TV
Stop it.
shows, and we've been thinking a lot about how we can take that to the next level.
TED Talk ass freaking framing.
Yeah, Josh Simon. You can thank him.
I
for
bet you
this.
he gave that in a black suit and had his hands together
Yeah.
like this.
Like I can't
Fingers
wait.
pressed.
He's like, you know what we're gonna do next is we're gonna open up a theme park, and Disney's gonna be like, guys, what? We've been doing this for half a century.
So we're gonna have a Stranger Things ride.
Oh, that would be awesome. Could you imagine actually playing?
License it out to NBC. They do it better.
What was that game show called where the guy goes? It's not the Hunger Games. Damn it. The Korean show.
Oh,
What's that one called? I watched it a lot. Where you got the triangle guys and the circle guys.
Oh,
and
the
square
Netflix
guys.
shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't watch that.
That was
I know what
good.
you're
You would
talking about.
love that. It's all
Yeah.
about murdering people and being super creepy about it. Like it's your show, Danny.
Well, look, man. Not everybody
What's
likes.
that show's
I don't like to
called?
watch everybody watch their own kink.
Danny's like, I did that better.
Yeah, I didn't put it
Been
on.
there.
I didn't put it on TV.
Yeah. What is the name of that show? I'm going crazy now.
I know I can't remember it. It sucks.
I know what you're talking about because they have like the red light, green light.
Yeah. Yes. And
Yeah.
you can have
Yeah,
that.
it was dubbed over, but it was really good.
Yeah.
See, I think that's the reason that I probably didn't watch it.
Squid Games.
Yeah,
Thank you, Iverson. Thank you, P1 Ivy. Squid Games. That's it.
I can't do dubs.
YouTube's checking in with that now. Thank you.
If you
Dubs kill me.
If you could go out and you could play Squid Games, like not actually die.
I was gonna say for real or no?
Paintball.
But like you're out there and you get drilled with the paintballs when you're playing that red light and green light, people would sign up for that.
But
People love that.
I can't do dubs because the second dubs pop up, I spend time staring at the bottom of the screen instead of watching the show. Yeah. It drives me insane.
I'll admit if they did a Squid Games and the prize was you can host a radio show, I'd totally enter that. I would.
I don't know. You can
Maybe
just
not money.
kill Danny.
I
You
was
can
saying,
host this radio show
wow.
tomorrow.
No.
Or me. Fine, Danny.
God, I thought we both agreed it was Sprague.
Good to know. I didn't know that, so now I'm in on the plan.
Dirt's about to be a father.
Jordan's out there with the kill list. He's just like, yep, we're going to go. Hey, Schulte.
Sticking it up.
Seriously, though, thank you for filling in with Jeff Rust for the past couple of days.
Wow,
Rusty will be back tomorrow.
Look at Buck lurking in the background.
Yeah.
It's been fun, guys. Appreciate being in with you. Love you
watch
both.
us on YouTube's. YouTube.com/@1080 AM The Fan or at 1080 AM The Fan.
Or if you just go to YouTube and just search 1080 The Fan, we should pop up.
Hells yeah. All right, you can see our ugly mugs all day. Up next, you got Prime Time with Isaac and Zook. 4 hours of power from their mouths into your ears next, right here on The Fan.
Bye.